What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing my top 5 movies of 2024. I was going to do this last year, and I wish I did because the movies were so much better last year than they were this year. I don't know why the movie quality this year was so bad. Making the worst list is definitely easier than making the best list. Like, finding 5 movies that were actually good this year was quite difficult. Whereas I had like 20 candidates for some of the worst movies I've seen this year. Without further ado, we'll get into some honorable mentions and then we'll get into the top 5. I went on some more high profile ones. I'm not going to include some of the shitty horror movies that I watched this year that no one's ever heard of. But Madame Web has to be an honorable mention. I did a review of that one. Fucking dreadful. The dialogue, the characters, everything was shit. A Quiet Place, Day One, I think, is that what the title was? That shit was very disappointing considering the first one is very, very good. This one was so disappointing, man. It was just poor. It was just really bad. I think, did I review this? I can't remember, but I honestly, all I remember is that the cat was the most interesting character. And like, was the woman a cancer patient or something? And she just wanted to eat pizza and like, brother, what's going on? And they also like changed the dimension of like the aliens and how they function and some of the stuff with that, which was a bit weird considering it was never mentioned in the other movies. Red One with Dwayne Johnson, the Christmas movie, where they just kind of tried to put together an all-star cast of all actors who I guess just were doing it for money because that was a pretty poor movie. It's already on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it, by the way. Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney. I saw a lot of people saying they liked this one. I didn't like this one. This was a horror movie with she was a nun or something. The ending scene was pretty brutal. That's all I remember from the movie. So there you go. And another one, which is a bit more of a British one, it's called Wicked Little Letters. I think it had Olivia Colman. And the whole plot of this was like someone was writing like profane letters to this somewhat innocent woman, and someone was writing like profane letters to her, and they blamed like the weird Irish woman next to her who kept swearing, and then that was the whole plot basically. It turned out she was writing the letters to herself, by the way, and she just sent this woman to prison, and the movie was horrible. To me, I hated it, Rev. And maybe I'm not the target audience. I didn't go and see this on my own volition. It was one of those Odeon screen on scenes where they show you a random movie coming up, and you don't know what it is before you get there. So unfortunately, this was it. Me and my friend both didn't like it. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna get into the 5 worst movies of 2024. And number 5, I've got to go with Night Swim. Probably one of the first movies of the year, and honestly, I haven't forgot how bad it is. To be fair, it's one of the more memorable bad movies of the year. I just think everything about this movie is shit. I think I made a review on this one. They kind of tried to extend a 5-minute short film that I watched. It was pretty good. I went and watched it after. I was like, yeah, it's a decent little horror short. But they tried to stretch a 5-minute short film into a whole hour, 30-minute feature film. Just, yeah, it didn't work. I mean, and the worst part is when you combined a bad plot with really stupid characters and then doing all the stupid horror tropes, you end up with bullshit basically. And that's kind of what we got. And then the whole ending with the father being a martyr when he was the villain the whole time, like it was plainly obvious to see, like, listen, if I had a serious problem and I ended up falling into a swimming pool, yeah, I would see that as a bad omen for the house, but this brother didn't see it, and miraculously the pool is healing him and no one thought that was weird, whatever. Yeah, Night Swim has to go at number 5. Number 4, another horror movie, and it's gonna be The Strangers Part 1. I think there's a remake. I think there's an actual older movie with this. It has a very well-known actress in it. I can see her face, but I can't remember her name. But I haven't seen that one. My friend told me to come with him to watch this, and this was fucking horrible, mate. I'm not the biggest fan of slasher films. I think they tend to be pretty shit, but this was beyond shit. Like, the whole plot is this couple go to this cabin in, like, this kind of town, like, out of town in this random place in the middle of nowhere, to go around, do their thing, and at the end of the day, some strange people start showing up in masks with knives, and yeah, it goes on from there. And in the end, they just kill them, I think. And there's going to be a Strangers Part 2. I mean, yeah, the acting, from what I remember, the acting in this was absolutely dog shit, mate. I think that was the biggest problem with this. Like, I felt like the actors were really bad, and there was no tension, there's no built-up tension. It was just like very obvious what was going to happen. It was one of those movies where they basically showed you everything in the trailer, which I think is a big problem these days. In number 3, now, I'm really wrestling between 2 and 3. I don't know which one was worse. It's between 2 movies. I think I'm going to put Borderlands at 3. I did review this movie as well, if you want my full in-depth thoughts, but the main issues that stem from this movie is the cast is awful. Like, the cast is the wrong cast. Cate Blanchett is clearly the wrong person to play the role she was put in there. She's way older. She's way older than the character. The plot is stupid. The plot is just silly and doesn't really make any sense. And yeah, I mean, I talked about this when I reacted to Critical Drinkers top and best and worst movies of the year. I said that Kevin Hart is not meant to be a tough guy. He doesn't fit the bill. He just doesn't. And Like when you think of a movie that has Kevin Hart and Jack Black and some of these actors, you think it's going to be funny. There was no humor in this. It was dry. It was dead. No, I don't think a Borderlands movie isn't meant to take itself seriously. I don't think they tried to take themselves seriously, but it was just stupid. And that just led to a pretty horrible video game adaptation. I wish I was in a better position to understand the Borderlands lore, because I'm not really a fan of Borderlands. You know, I think I have a few of the games for free on Epic Games, but I've never actually played them for more than like 20 minutes, so I don't really know the full lore of it. But it just felt like a real big disservice to that universe, and I'm sure a lot of the fans weren't happy about that. Number 2 is going to have to be Argyle. And the reason I put this over Borderlands is because I think I hated this more. Like, if I had to pick one to talk to myself and watch again, I'd probably pick Borderlands. Just Argyle, like, what gets me is the deceptive marketing around this movie. You can't market a film around Henry Cavill and Dua Lipa. I don't know why I keep thinking John Cena was in this. I don't know why. I have to double check. John Cena was in this. I was thinking to myself, why am I thinking John Cena was in this? But he was. They were marketing the whole movie around these people, and then we get this boring fucking plot with like this woman who's meant to be a secret agent and she's forgot about it, but she's actually a writer and her plot has come to life, but she's the actual secret agent. Wow, like no, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with the actress. What was her name? Bryce Dallas Howard. I think she's also in Jurassic World. I mean, she's not fit for that role. She looked really uncomfortable throughout the whole time in the movie. Sam Rockwell, he did alright. Samuel Jackson, again, like, do you need money, my guy? Like, what's going on with these actors just slapping themselves in any movie they can be in? Like, is it just a money issue? I see it happening with what's his name? The Australian guy, the Gladiator guy, Russell Crowe. I see it happening with him as well. Just select your movies a little better, bro, unless you desperately need the money. But for me, the reason that Argyle is here is just because the movie was shit and the marketing went overboard. It's like they tried to deceive us into watching the movie. Absolute joke. Like, how can you put one of the most beloved actors in Henry Cavill in the trailer and just market it around him? He's in it for not even 5 minutes of screen time. Disgraceful, mate. And number 1, the worst movie I watched this year is called The Exorcism. Now, I bet a bunch of people haven't even heard of this movie. It was a horror movie that released this year and has Russell Crowe in it. And look, I like Russell Crowe. I think he's a very good actor. He's in Gladiator. Done a great job. And even in some of these shitty movies he's been in lately, Craven, the Pope's Exorcist, and the this other one, The Exorcism, he still does pretty well. It's just, mate, this movie was so shit. I hated it from start to finish. The whole plot is so stupid, right? And it plays on every horror trope and then tries to insert like this weird political undertone into it, and it's very overt with like what it's trying to do. And a lot of people throw the word woke around, but this was definitely in that realm. I'm not sure who directed it. I'm not sure what the whole thing was, but the whole plot basically revolves around the fact that Russell Crowe is an out-of-work actor. His daughter is a problem child, right? And she gets kicked out of school. She comes home and she doesn't want to be there. She hates him for some reason. I can't remember. Probably because, you know, he divorced the mum or the mum died and she doesn't like him. I don't fucking know. Every woman has to have a problem with the dad. The dad always has to be a deadbeat in every single movie these days. Yeah, she's like, I think she's 16 years old and she's also a lesbian with like a fucking buzz cut. They made this actress look way worse than she does she does normally for some reason. Not that I really care about that, but it's like, she looks really weird. Like, they made her look like a shaved head, crazy woman, and she's meant to be 16, and the whole movie, instead of focusing on the fact that the dad is now possessed, right? Like, Russell Crowe's character is meant to get possessed. They focus on, like, this weird interracial relationship, lesbian relationship with the fucking daughter and one of the cast members or whatever, and it's just like, fucking hell, mate. Why? Why are we doing this? There was no need for this. I'm here to watch a good horror. You know what I mean? And this year, we did have a few good horror movies this year. Speak No Evil, I really enjoyed it. The Heretic was decent. You know what I mean? And we just get this bullshit, mate. I was like, fuck me, mate. And I didn't go and watch this on my own volition either. It was a Scream unseen at Odeon. And they did this to me, mate. I paid them my hard-earned money to see this bullshit, bruv. But yeah, that was probably the worst movie of the year. I just had to put it there, mate. It was fucking awful. To do a little bonus segment, I'm going to do some of the most disappointing movies. And I'm just going to say which ones I thought were disappointing. Smile 2, I was hoping it would be better. Smile 1 was okay. It was decent. Smile 2, it just felt like they rushed it. They rushed like the second half of the movie. I felt the same way about Smile 1. It just feels like they build great tension and then they ruin it in the back half of the movie. And I feel like with Smile 2, you never know what's real and what's fake. And I know that's probably the intention, but it's just kind of confusing. Number 2, Trap. I actually was quite excited for Trap, mate. It was one of those with the trailer. I mean, it would have been better if they didn't give away in the trailer that the guy was the murderer. And we discovered it. I think that would have been much better. But then maybe people wouldn't have seen it. But it starts out decent, and then it just starts devolving into craziness, and it becomes less and less believable. To the point of, like, he probably could have just walked out of that arena unbothered. right? You know what I mean? And they said he went through this whole thing of like kidnapping the fucking woman and doing all this crazy shit. Honestly, I'd probably watch Trap again, but I was hoping it would be much better than it was. Twisters, another disappointing movie. I was hoping this would be good. Glenn Powell, I like him. I think he's been very good in some of the roles he's been in. Recently, Top Gun, Anyone But You, I think carried that movie on his back. But this one, he was good, but the movie itself was shit. Like the whole ending, the woman just, this tornado is meant to be whatever tornado it is, and she just drives the pickup truck into it. Okay, okay. And number 4, I have to put Gladiator 2. I don't think Gladiator 2 is as bad as people made it out to be, but I also don't think it was great. I had a decent enough time with the movie, to be fair, but it's just like when you're trying to live up to Gladiator 1 that didn't need a sequel, why the hell did we need this? We didn't, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I probably forgot a few, but yeah, that's my list of most disappointing movies and the worst movies of 2024. Hopefully, 2025 is a better year, although I doubt it. But, you know, yeah, you guys let me know in the comments what you think the worst movies were, and I'll see you all in the next one.